dreaming. Now we're on the come up, steady scheming. We ain't got a lot, but you know we believe in what we feel in our hearts as we reach for the ceiling. They all just frowned and shook their heads. I nodded with a smile and took their bets. Came out on top and they all on the losing end. Nothing turned out how they thought it really should have been. And I ought to thank them for real. Gave me the fire, they turned me to steel. If love is war, life is a battlefield. Headed for the sky, wonder how that'll feel. Ready to be living it, making dividends. Winning is a goal and I know that I'm getting it. My ride to the top is getting imminent. Waiting on the challengers, go ahead and send them in. This song's for the winners, never giving up, never giving in when life gets tough. This song's for the soldiers, never call it quits. Live for the challenge, they can never get enough of this. Song's for the winners.
Good evening. It's a little complicated streaming, but we're doing it.
Hey, we're doing it. We're doing it.
Yeah. You know, it's been a day.
It has been.
Yeah. Hello, Brenda. How are you?
Hey,
Glad
Brenda.
the notifications are working.
Yay.
Sorry, guys. The reason we're late was I wanted to confirm some reports, but I want to talk about a topic.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll talk about some other topics.
Hey, there you go.
So for about a damn week now, or two, there's been speculation about poor Princess Catherine.
Oh, yeah. Kate Middleton?
Yes.
Yes.
Princess of Wales. You know, everything from she's in a coma to she's divorced her husband and ran off to Tahiti. You name it, they've said it about this poor woman.
Yes. Which actually, I think the last thing I saw was there was a major announcement coming from the royal family. It was either Kate's dad or Charles's dad.
Neither are dead. Yeah. Okay. Granted, you know, they even involved the Russian bots in this, you know, the ones that influence the elections. Which, you know, I think that's just, and that's where the death story came from.
Fair enough.
You know, 6 o'clock today, BTM, they released a video of Princess Kate, Princess Catherine, announcing that she, of course, had abdominal surgery, but then after further testing, was found out it was cancer.
Oh.
that, it was thought to be non-cancerous. It was just, they needed to go in and do something in her abdominals, do some repair work, do some upkeep, whatever.
Yeah.
Turns out, nope, there were cancer cells there.
Okay.
Okay, so she's going to be, the reason she's not been in the public isn't that shocking.
Yeah, that's kind of a kick in the teeth for anyone.
She's doing chemo. I don't think anyone wants to be in the public, especially when even her footsteps are being watched. Yes, there are videos out there on how she walks and how she.
Oh, yeah, like massive conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
Massive. Like it. It's been a list.
It is what it is. And I am like, how dreadful.
Mm-hmm.
They're just now going on Easter break. They just were able to get their children home because their children do attend public school. She most likely did not want her children having to put up with, oh my God, your mom has cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine going through that at school?
Yeah. Yeah, like as in it's not all scary enough. Here's more.
Right.
Ugh.
So I'm glad they held off until the children were out of school. Like, I think that was a very intelligent move to be done.
Well, yeah, because that's not news you really want to. And it may have occurred anyway, just because.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not news you want to hear over the phone.
Right.
Especially if you understand, like, mommy had surgery.
Right.
Trying to explain, because God, the kids are still kind of little, aren't they?
Yeah, they're all middle school. Well, they're elementary, middle school.
Yeah. I was just thinking, like,
just now beginning his royal training.
Like, so they were just babies the other day.
So everyone else is younger.
Yeah. Jesus, she's up to 3 kids.
I know. Like, she done her duty fine.
Little royal baby factory.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, but like this 1 kid, 2 kid, 1 kid, 3 kids, Like, yeah. I just thought she had the 2. I totally missed the first, third.
Yeah. She's got
ages 5, 8, and 10.
Right.
So the 10-year-old is probably the oldest one to understand mommy had surgery. And this isn't, like, it didn't go well.
Right.
Charlotte, maybe mommy had surgery. Things are not good.
If even that level, maybe mommy is sick.
Yeah, the 5-year-old is that mommy's sick. Mommy goes to hospital.
Right.
Like, generally speaking, and this is no insult on their intelligence, so this is how you would explain this to a 5, an 8, and a 10-year-old.
Exactly.
At, like, the maximal of what you would try to tell them.
Mm-hmm.
If they even knew.
Right. Well, she confirmed that she has informed the children in an age-appropriate way. Right.
Well, I'm talking about before the surgery.
Yeah. Probably not.
Right. Like, so this is kind of a, like, be gentle. Right. Because I can't see. I just cannot see their father.
Right.
Being anything but kid gloves with these kids.
Oh, yeah.
Like, after the crap him and his brother went through, I just can't envision this being a parent that wants to be like, all right, we're going to tell the kids everything.
Right.
No.
We're not telling the kids everything. We're going to inform them safely. They're not going to be told before they're out of school.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're not going to stress and worry them. We're going to be adult, you know, use adult terms. That would be my recommendation.
Well, you still want to be gentle.
Right.
You know, and that's what I'm saying. Like a 10-year-old, mommy had surgery on her tummy.
Yeah.
Now she has to have treatment.
Right.
Because it's kind of serious.
Right.
I don't know how much time I would want to invest in explaining to a 10-year-old cancer.
Right.
That's not going to be traumatic.
And not going to immediately like send warning flags all over his face, his head.
Yeah, like mommy's going to die is what I just heard.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, whoa. Like, because cancer is a really hard one to explain to anyone.
Right.
Like, and we often end up having that immediate reaction is that, okay, so you're going to die.
Right. But at the same time, I think, you know, I think it would have been worse if they were still in school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's not over the phone news.
Well, it's not over the phone news. It's in person.
Not over email. That's not over Zoom. That's not a...
Right.
You know what I mean? That's not a FaceTime.
No. You know, you know, they go to school locally, but it's still, I wouldn't want my child in a school system with that news being pushed out. Furthermore, the news that, oh, your mother's dead.
Yeah, that's...
You know.
Jesus.
And no one's telling her, you or anyone else, that's being hid by the palace. Get going. What a
well, but it is the thing that we have with, or, well, I guess we can say we have, like the world has.
Yeah.
With the British royal family.
Right.
Is this expectation that, you know, these are puppets on stage.
Right.
Bring out the puppet.
Yeah.
Like, if we don't see the puppet died.
Right.
Dance the puppet.
I know, but, you know, being a small public figure, I'm a little public figure, I'm just horrified by some of the stuff they put out.
Yeah. I mean, it is one of those things, though, because so much has been made of, like, the British royal family, and are they people, or are they just royal people who are aloof, you know? So it gets very involved. The level in which, and especially in the 21st century, how much they are expected to publicly interact.
Right.
Like, you've got to be here, you've got to be here, you've got to be here. And the minute one of you, like, tries to take a seat, you know, oh, you've had a nervous breakdown.
Right.
Oh, you must be dying.
Oh, you've been put into a medically induced coma.
Right. Now, granted, some of that kind of the Queen Elizabeth effect.
Yeah.
Because she spent her entire monarchy in front of a camera.
Right.
Like, she was the first royal on camera consistently.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, there was some very early stuff with her father. And her mother. But it was very limited. And then we get to Queen Elizabeth, and that is the queen on camera.
Exactly. You have to be seen.
Constantly. Never-endingly seen. Constantly publicly interactive.
Right.
And she did that for what, 70 years?
70 years. Like, I think that
and
someone
very
should go through and do a picture a day, minus January, because she didn't do many things in January. It's too cold.
Well, she had a very set routine
Mm-hmm.
that, like, you know, she goes to Balmoral for this period,
Right.
and it's like, screw off. She does very limited engagements during that period,
Mm-hmm.
and the other 11 months,
Right.
that queen is on camera. She is here. She is there. She is everywhere.
Right. And
Like,
continued to be up until like 2 days before her death.
give her about a month or two, because I think she started pulling back a little bit.
No, 2 days before her death, she was meeting and swearing in the new prime minister, and that was on film.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. There is, like, she generated this expectation,
right?
And it was too much for, like, Princess Diana,
right?
Like, she struggled through it.
Yeah.
And that was, like, good God help Charles. Because he got, like, there was that earlier expectation way back when that he was going to be this Camelot prince that was also always on camera, and that didn't go well.
No.
He just not a bad guy, but doesn't have that kind of personality.
Yeah, I don't think he has that kind of personality. I also don't think that he has that ability. Like he's a different monarch.
Yeah.
Than his mother.
Yeah. But it's so far worked out because it's been spread around.
Right.
Like, here's Charles, here's William, here's Kate, here's the children, here's, you know, whatever the fuck Harry's done.
Oh, let's not get started on that bastard of a child.
You get my point, though.
Right.
Is that it's been spread around, and so they're all expected to be part of this, like, keeping up with the British Kardashians.
Right.
Of constant public appearance. Until one of them doesn't appear. Right. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, here's the puppet. Where's the puppet?
Right.
You want the puppet. Shake the puppet.
Right.
Where are you? What are you doing? Where are you at?
Right.
So.
Again, horrified by this behavior. Horrified by social media. And how horrid is it for her? She is convalescing from a major surgery, and there's some yachty in Italy running her beak about her being in a mentally induced coma. How she did not run out to the camera and throw a fit from, like, that would make Elizabeth scream, shut up, is beyond me.
Well, and I wonder how much of this is also the fears that people have. Because, and we've talked about it too, Charles is showing up very late in life to be king.
Right.
Like, Camilla, don't get too comfortable. Because I don't, and this is no ill will wish. It's the man is 70 some years old.
Yeah.
Like,
well, you know, she will
not going to be a 70-year.
Right. But, you know,
not going to be a 70-year reign.
It's not going to be a 70-year reign, you know, and I think Camilla knows that she is not going to be queen for long. Reigning queen, but she'll still be Queen Derringer for the rest of her life. Yeah, yeah.
But that also kind of ends up making the point that it means that a lot of attention is going to be put on William and Kate,
right?
Because the minute, you know, Charles kicks it, that's where the focus goes.
Right.
Is, okay, We have an heir and a spare.
Right.
um, well, right, and because again, it's no one's wishing Charles ill. Please don't ever take it as I'm saying we're wishing him ill. We're not.
We're not. I think
the
he's
realities
a lovely king.
Well, yeah, but the realities
being a good king. He's doing the meetings. He's handling the red boxes. He's handling the purple boxes. He's just not doing the shaking hands, kissing baby right now.
Right.
I think we're looking at it probably another 6 months before he's out back kissing babies.
Right. But again, he's because I just looked it up. He's 75. I mean, for male life expectancy, average,
right?
He's kind of pushing it, and he already had a cancer diagnosis, correct?
Yes, he is undergoing chemo.
Yeah. So, again, no one's wishing him ill. I hope that he recovers wonderfully and is rocking it.
Right.
But even if he lives to the same age of his mother, that's not many years.
No.
Like that's cold hard facts.
Right.
Like he has waited a very long time to be king.
He has. Well, he had very long time training, so I don't know if he was just done, or if she was just holding on for every fiber.
Yeah, there is that. But yeah, no, she was 96. So technically, if you try to interpret based on her lifespan, then he has 21 years from this point.
Right.
I mean, it's not a short monarchy, but it's not a long one.
Right. But I could not believe this crap that was going around. Like, I hope everyone that was believing that crap has their jaw dropped and their head bowed.
Like, I'm definitely horrified by it for her. I think we all are. But sadly, I think it almost just goes with that you married into this.
Right. Well,
and I hate it for you. Like, it's not fair. It's horrible. Like, your mother-in-law would totally understand.
Oh, I think her mother-in-law would have had a conniption. Well, her grandmother-in-law.
Yeah.
Her mother-in-law is doing everything she can to keep the business running. Because right now, I think it's being ran by Princess Anne and her. Like, the public side, they're the ones at the events.
Yeah.
Of course, she's not a young whippersnapper either.
And Jesus Christ
now. Is she my favorite royal? No. She's on my shit list.
Why
She will never be on my shit list.
She will forever be on your shit list?
Yes.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Like, the woman's 73 years old and she hasn't bought new clothes in like 40 years.
Not like Princess Anne. I like Princess Anne. I'm talking about Queen Camilla.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm sorry. I don't think anyone... Let's be fair. It's not that she's a horrible person, but she's hard to like. She's hard to like.
She is. Her back's like, we all wanted Queen Diana.
Yeah, we were locked in. We
should have stayed in her place.
Ooh, I don't know that I ever want to say that. I think it was the knowing there was an affair going on before.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like stand by your man and like hang in there. and God knows she's worked to get to that throne.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I grant the woman a lot of brownie points. I really do.
Right.
I really do. She has taken a lot
Mm-hmm.
to get to that throne.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I applaud her effort. And I understand it cannot at all have been easy to weather what she has weathered in her life.
Well, here's the thing with this. She was the royal mistress. She should have. Well, that's what I mean by if you're going to take the role on because you didn't accept his proposal when he proposed before he was married. Then you need to go and and now you moved, then he divorced, and y'all at least y'all did wait until after Diana was dead. I think that was Elizabeth's doing.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, she really had to hang in there.
Yeah.
Like it was a long wait.
Right. But at least she's proven her sprouts right now. Now, granted, I would like Zoe to step up, take her title, and do some work. I want to see more out of her. She's a younger royal. She can get her ass up and moving, just like her mother did.
Oh yeah, Brenda was with me. She thought you were talking about Princess Anne too, and it's what the hell did Princess Anne ever do to anyone? We love her. She's great.
Yes, and she fingers off the press all the time.
Like, now don't get me wrong. I do not think she is the warmest, cuddliest royal that has ever royaled. But she's very likable.
See, here's the thing. I think she is warm and cuddly.
Unless
she's got a camera.
If you
got a camera in her face.
Fair enough.
And she's also the royal that beat up the person trying to kidnap her.
Yeah.
Let's
she's
fun.
That. Don't ever forget that she's fun.
Yes.
She's and apparently a great friend to all of her peoples, and she's very she's just fun.
Yeah.
She's very serious, and she works really hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I am sure that and there's all kinds of really great stories about people she's worked with, and
right.
How kind she's been. I'm just saying, she shows up in public, she's not always the cuddliest.
Well, true.
She's very matronly looking. She's very serious.
Mm-hmm.
She's very, on point. She has work to do.
Right.
Dots her I's, crosses her T's. She's very prim and proper.
Mm-hmm.
She's not very. She just doesn't scream super excited to be here. It's like I'm at work.
Right.
What do you want?
Right.
Okay, we can do that. You know what I mean? It's just very matter of fact, this is the job.
Right. These are my responsibilities. Let me get these done so I can get back to my horses and my grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
And
again, I'm sure she's great. And yeah. I don't mean that in any negative way, but she's just not, and has never been the warmest and cuddliest. You know what I mean? She's not a lapdog.
Right.
She's not a lapdog of the press. She's not a lapdog of the people.
Right.
She'll go, she works, she does her job, and when she's done, she's done.
Right.
She's out.
I think it was in the 70s.
Okay.
Yeah, 1974, March 20th. She was attempted kidnapper. Her and a bodyguard
Oh yeah.
beat the living snot out of the kid. Like, it was like, please, take me to jail. This woman's going to kill me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's quite the little story. At least the Wikipedia version. So on March 20th, 1974, Princess Anne and Mark Phillips were returning to Buckingham Palace from a charity event when a Ford Escort forced their Princess 4 car to stop on the mall. The driver of the Escort, Ian Ball, jumped out and began firing a pistol. Inspector James Beaton, Anne's personal police officer, exited the car to shield her and try to disarm Ball. Beaton's firearm, Walther PPK, jammed, and he was shot by Ball, as was Anne's chauffeur, Alex Callender, when he tried to disarm Ball. Brian McConnell, a nearby tabloid journalist, also intervened and was shot in the chest. Ball approached Anne's car and told her that he intended to kidnap her and hold her for ransom. The sum given by varying sources is £2 million or £3 million, which he claimed he intended to give to the National Health Service. Ball told Anne to get out of the car, to which she replied, "Not bloody likely." She reportedly briefly considered hitting Ball. Eventually, Anne exited the other side of the limousine and had her lady-in-waiting, Rowena Brazzi, a passing pedestrian, a former boxer named Ron Russell, punched Ball and led Anne away from the scene. At that point, police constable Michael Hills happened upon the scene. He too was shot by Ball, but he had already called for police backup. Detective Constable Peter Edmonds answered, gave chase, and finally arrested Ball.
Yeah.
Beaton, Hills, Callender, and McConnell were hospitalized and recovered from their wounds. For his defense of Princess Anne, Beaton was awarded the George Cross by the Queen, who was visiting Indonesia when the incident occurred. Hills and Russell were awarded the George Medal, and Callender, McConnell, and Edmonds were awarded the Queen's Gallantry Medal. It was widely reported the Queen paid off Russell's mortgage, but this is not true. Russell said in 2020 that a police officer suggested it might happen, so he stopped paying his mortgage in anticipation and nearly had his house repossessed after 4 months. Anne visited Beaton in hospital and thanked him for his assistance. In 1983, she spoke about the event on Parkinson, saying she was scrupulously polite to Ball as she thought it would be silly to be rude at that stage. I'm sorry, I can't. I'm just still picturing her going, "Not bloody likely." I'm trying to picture it coming out of her mouth, and I can totally hear it. Yeah, I can totally hear it, but it's just the image of it is cracking me up. Like, this is what I mean when I say she is not the cuddliest of royals.
No.
There's a lot of royals you could kidnap, and it would be like, okay, this is what's happening. All right. Would you like tea? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
But not Princess Anne.
Well, it's like the guy that broke into Queen Elizabeth's bedroom. She had a full conversation with him.
You know, what else do you do?
Just like,
but this is what I'm talking about. She's not the cuddly one.
no, she isn't. She's the one that flips off the press as often as she can get by with it.
You know what I mean? Like, she's fun.
Yeah.
Like, she is not at all boring.
No.
But she's very serious.
Mm-hmm.
And she's very business.
Yeah.
Like of all the royals she could have tried to kidnap, what in the hell made you think Princess Anne was the one to go for?
And why? Like, that's not the one you go for.
You know, I just mean, like, for the time period.
Yeah.
You could have made so many better choices.
Yeah, especially when, like, you are I think she was still either in training or had done the Olympics by then.
Oh, valid point. Let's see. Where was she? Oh, I'm trying to think. Oh, well, let's get to the right one. Sorry, I had flipped pages.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in spring of 71, Princess Anne finished fourth at the Russell Horse Trials. Let's see. Oh, yeah, no, she would have been training.
Yeah, she was in training, so she was already, like, pissed off because she couldn't have her tea.
Yeah, she participated in the 76 Olympic Games and was involved for more than 5 years with training for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think that was the right time to go fucking around with Princess Anne.
No.
Like, she was feeling herself.
Well, she probably had her, because Olympians are weird. I'm surprised she didn't bring out a riding crop on him.
Yeah, no. But I'm sorry, at the point when she says, I'm gonna start laughing again. It was just
not bloody likely.
Well, it's not the not bloody likely part that's getting me now. It's the other part. Where she said, spoke about the event on Parkinson, saying she was scrupulously polite to Paul, as she thought it would be silly to be too rude at that stage. Like, that princess training just kicked right in on her. I'm sorry. She's fun. This is what we're driving at. She's fun.
She is, but she has an interesting life. Her ex-husband lives on the same estate as she does with his new wife. His ex-wife lives somewhere else on the estate in a different cottage. All of them work to take care of the grandkids and raise things and children and all that. Like, I don't know. It's like she divorced him, but at the same time, there's still a good friendship there.
Oh, it gets funnier.
Oh.
Anne is the first member of the royal family to have been convicted of a criminal offense. In November 2002, she pled guilty to one charge of having a dog dangerously out of control, an offense under the Dangerous Dogs Act of 1991, and was fined £500.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, just making waves.
Can you imagine the lecture she got over that?
In 2002, when the woman's, 50-some years old?
Yeah.
Like, the queen would be 70-something.
Uh-huh.
She's having to scold her daughter for being involved in a criminal offense. Oh, no. Oh, that's not a conversation I'd want to walk in on.
Oh, I think you've lived this one.
What? I have never been convicted of a criminal offense.
No, but you had your father Deal with your grandmother.
Oh, get God. She did not take kindly to that speeding ticket. She did not.
Mm-mm.
Oh, she was mad about that. My father washed the car, well, the truck, and to dry it, decided to take it out on 460 in Princeton and proceeded to get his first speeding ticket.
Mm-hmm.
Why, you may ask? Because he was going really fast, so the air would dry the car off. That officer was kind. I think he wrote that ticket for 74 in a 55.
Mm-hmm.
1 mile per hour under driving reckless.
Mm-hmm.
She was not happy about that.
I don't think she spoke to him for what, a month?
No, it wasn't that bad. She's very upset. Because he could have killed himself trying to drive the stupid car.
Uh-huh. Instead
Like
of
arguments I've had to mediate.
Uh-huh.
This out. Arguments I've had to mediate in my family. Just the amount of fear he had from that woman. It was like, for God's sake, you're a grown adult. Like, I don't know. Maybe it got a little broken for me because, you know, my mom ended up in a nursing home by the time I was 13.
Mm-hmm.
So like, you know, but I always looked at him like, good God, you're, you know, 50, 60, 70 some years old. Like, how much fear of your mother should you have?
Well, I don't know. She called him every day to remind him to wear a coat.
Oh, that was an endless argument. I don't want to wear a coat, Mother. I've heard that so many times. Oh, anywho, all right. Sorry, we've had too much fun.
We do have another story to cover. Israel has struck again, this time in Russia.
Well, ISIS claims responsibility for attack in busy Moscow area concert venue that left at least 60 dead.
Mm-hmm.
So ISIS has claimed responsibility for an attack at a popular concert venue complex near Moscow Friday that left at least 60 dead and more than 100 wounded after assailants stormed the venue with guns and incendiary devices. The terror group took responsibility for the attack in a short statement published by ISIS-affiliated news agency Amaq on Telegram on Friday. The group did not provide evidence to support the claim. Video footage from the site of the attack, the Crocus City Hall concert venue, shows the vast complex, which is home to both a music hall and a shopping center, on fire with smoke billowing into the air. State-run RIA Novosti reported the armed individuals opened fire with automatic weapons and threw a grenade or an incendiary bomb, which started a fire. They then allegedly fled in a white Renault car, the news agency said. State media Russia 24 reported the roof of the venue has partially collapsed. The attack unfolded before the music group Picnic was set to perform, according to Russia 24. The band's manager told state media that the performers were unharmed. The Russia Prosecutor General's office said unidentified people in camouflage broke into Crocus City Hall and started shooting before the start of the concert, according to TASS. Video footage showed panic as the attack unfolded, with crowds of people huddling together, screaming and ducking behind cushioned seats as gunshots started echoing into the vast hall. Footage geolocated by CNN shows an armed individual starting at least one fire inside the venue. The individual is seen carrying something in their hand, and as they walk off screen, a bright flash of light from a large flame is seen in the video. Regional Governor Andrei Vorobyov said everything was being done to save people in what is now the deadliest terror attack on Moscow in decades. A SWAT team was called to the area, and more than 70 ambulance teams and doctors were assisting victims. 145 people have been hospitalized, TASS reported. 60 people are in a serious condition. On Friday night, Moscow City Duma chairman, the chairman, called on Moscow residents to donate blood to help treat victims, saying this is a matter of life and death for dozens of people, and listed several blood center facilities in the Moscow area that will accept donors throughout the weekend. Around 100 people were evacuated from the building by firefighters, TASS reported. Rescuers are still working to get people off the roof, according to the main directorate of the Ministry of Emergency Situations of the Russian Federation. Moscow mayor called the attack a terrible tragedy. Today, a terrible tragedy occurred in the Crocus City Center. My condolences to the loved ones of the victims. I gave orders to provide all necessary assistance to everyone who suffered during the incident. On Telegram, the mayor has said he was canceling all sports, cultural, and other public events in Moscow this weekend. According to the Kremlin, Russian President Vladimir Putin was informed about the attack is being kept updated on measures on the ground. Oh, good grief, this keeps going. All right. Earlier this month, the U.S. Embassy in Russia said it was monitoring reports that extremists have imminent plans to target large gatherings in Moscow, including concerts. The embassy warned U.S. citizens to avoid large gatherings. On Friday, following what it said were reports of an ongoing terrorist incident at Crocus City Hall, it advised U.S. citizens not to travel to Russia. U.S. National Security Council spokesperson Adrian Watson said the U.S. government had information about a planned terrorist attack in Moscow, potentially targeting large gatherings to include concerts, and that this is what prompted the State Department to issue the public advisory. The U.S. government also shared this information with Russian authorities in accordance with its longstanding duty to warn policy, Watson said. However, in a speech Tuesday, Putin had blasted the American warnings as provocative, saying these actions resemble outright blackmail and the intention to intimidate and destabilize our society. Ukraine, which has been embroiled in war with Russia for more than 2 years, denied having any involvement in the attack. Ukraine has never resorted to the use of terrorist methods, Ukrainian presidential advisor wrote, in part in a post on X. He said he believed Russia would use the attack to justify the ongoing conflict and scale up operations as part of military propaganda in Ukraine. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres late Friday condemned in the strongest possible terms today's terrorist attack, according to a statement released by his deputy spokesman. The Secretary General conveys his deep condolences to the bereaved families and the people and the government of the Russian Federation. He wishes those injured a speedy recovery, the statement said. In a separate statement, the UN Security Council called the attack heinous and cowardly. French President Emmanuel Macron also condemned the attack. France expresses its solidarity with the victims, their loved ones, and all the Russian people, the Elysee Palace said, AFP and Reuters reported.
Right.
And my apologies on the Russian names.
Yeah.
Those were some ones I couldn't do on the fly.
Yeah. But
so
all
due respect to those involved.
Right. But we haven't heard of ISIS in a while. But we hear about Hamas all the time. Hamas. But we haven't heard about ISIS in a while.
Not really.
So it's kind of scary that they're popping up again.
I mean, I didn't think it was an ISIS-Russia problem.
I didn't think there was either, but apparently now there is.
Well, because granted, ISIS has had problems with the Western world.
Right.
And I get that, but I didn't think they were considering Russia necessarily in that.
Right.
I don't think it was because Russia was all that different, but just it felt like there was some back scratchiness going.
Right.
My interpretation entirely.
Well, my interpretation, there's always been something funny. Between the two.
Oh, and now's a horrible time to look for an ISIS-Russia connection.
Right. So it's quite scary to me that this is going on. Quite intimidating also.
Because I was not thinking ISIS and Russia had anything going on.
They haven't. This is I believe, their first attack in Russia.
Well, but it makes me wonder if that's because they've been supplying them.
Right.
And I'm not trying to start an international incident with that. It's just
right. Well, they've been known to supply terrorists before. Like this is not
basically this would not be new for Russia. Russia very much takes the position the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Right.
I'm just wondering if somehow in their Ukrainian involvement, they kind of forgot the whole arrangement.
Well, that or they don't have what to use and sell them. Because, they were buying stuff from China and, North Korea because they were running low on weapons.
Well, actually, there have been some issues. So, back in 2019, Putin shows rare soft spot to rescue Russia's ISIS children. Russia has most active program to return detainees. Fate of Islamic State families also an issue for U.S. and Europe. So it sounds a little bit more, and sorry, I feel like I should have known this.
All right.
Yeah. So no, Russia's had issues. It just hasn't had the same attacks.
Right.
So this is kind of a next step. Oh, and there actually was a question back in 2015. Don't know if anyone cares anymore about Quora. It's a weird Q&A site. But yeah, there were some comments on like why hasn't anything happened to Russia yet? As of 2015, it looks like Russia has managed to walk a fine line,
right,
and not really provoke the Islamic State, but not really offer umbrage to them.
Right.
Like they're not being friendly, but they're not being they don't provoke them either. Has been the so far situation. But apparently Russia's had some major issues that Russian Muslims
Right.
were very taken with ISIS.
Right.
Like they've had massive numbers of people leave from Russia.
During the whole bride thing?
I don't think it's just that.
Okay.
Like it's not like the whole. I mean, that's more of the U.S. UK problem.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is literally Russian Muslims are returning to Syria,
Right.
but although Russia did support the Syrian government,
Mm-hmm.
at least in terms of like the early conflict.
Right.
So again, it looks like they've been walking a line, kind of like we will give you credibility.
Right.
We won't really help you per se. Like we're not handing you bombs and guns.
Right.
But we'll at least, sit here and go, yeah, your plight is real.
Right.
And that's mostly looks like that's been their kind of
Right.
like borderlining.
Right.
Yeah. And it looks like most of what Russia has done has been raising civilian areas
Mm-hmm.
that were under Syrian control.
Right.
So yeah, they've basically just been building a buffer,
Mm-hmm.
while calling it a war on terror, while also seemingly being like, well, we understand why you're mad.
Uh-huh.
Could you send our people back? But generally has just kind of been hanging on the sidelines.
Yeah.
Like no massive effort to like shut them down, just kind of like, well.
But no, I thought that was sad news, but it was like a ghost from the past popping back. And like, didn't we put this fire out?
No. This is like the things that have to occur
Mm-hmm.
before we get to the point that this is actually over.
Right.
And keep in mind, this is not any kind of general Muslim hate. Like,
right. Because Muslims versus...
Please keep that. Yeah, like please, everyone, keep that separate.
Yeah. They are not the same. It's like saying Christians and Southern Baptists, they are not the same.
Yeah. While all squares are rectangles,
right,
not all rectangles are squares. As in, all members of ISIS are Muslim.
Right.
Not all members of or not all people that are Muslim are ISIS.
Right.
Like, keep that very carefully separated.
Right. Not every Christian is a member of Legs Church.
Of Legs Church?
Yeah, that stupid dude over, I believe he's in Kentucky or Tennessee, that runs his multi-million-dollar church out of a tent.
Oh, yeah.
Greg Locke. Yeah. Locke.
Yeah, Greg Locke. Yeah, I know. That's why I was confused. I was like, I do not know who you were talking about.
Yeah. He needs legs. He doesn't have any.
Like stand on would be useful.
Yeah.
So yeah, no. I think Russia just finally, like, it sounds like ISIS just finally got around to Russia. Like there's a shit list, and Russia just finally they got to Russia.
Right.
So I do hate that for Russia. I hate that for anywhere in the world. Terrorism is terrorism is terrorism. I'm not going to take the enemy of my enemy as my friend.
Right.
There's that's not how that works.
No.
And it's a horrible diplomatic strategy.
Well, it's always a horrible diplomatic strategy. It's always a horrible strategy at all. It never works out. You always get stabbed and double-crossed in the back. But, of course, they haven't figured that out. Granted, there were some Chinese philosophers in a lovely book called The Art of War that figured it out a long time ago.
Yes.
If you haven't read that book and you're an adult, go read it.
Well, yeah. But the whole point being that it only works short term.
Right.
Once that animosity changes or shifts, it's over.
Highly.
Like, you go back to being enemies.
Right. And if you don't know that you're back to being enemies, you're going to be in a shitload of problems.
Which, while you're distracted with a war that you can't win, can also seem like a really good time to your enemies to attack you.
Yes. Just when you're running low on men and ammo.
And you're kind of running out of nationalism.
Right.
Like, no one's really feeling the Team Russia.
Right.
In Russia.
They should have an election coming up soon. I just wonder if it's
They did. He has another 6 years.
Oh, lovely.
Yes.
I was hoping they would get a great, like a Catherine the Great.
No. That just happened, I think, this week. Yeah, I don't want his health. I want his election. Yeah. It was his 5th presidential campaign. That was March 21st, the Associated Press reported. President Vladimir Putin on Thursday thanked Russians for casting ballots in a presidential vote in which he cemented his grip on the country for another 6 years after the harshest crackdown on dissent since Soviet times. Any public criticism of Putin or his war in Ukraine has been stifled. Independent media have been crippled. Putin's fiercest political foe, Alexei Navalny, died in an Arctic prison last month, and other opposition activists are either in jail or in exile. Western leaders denounced the election as a sham. Right. Speaking in a video address following the announcement of the final results of the March 15th to 17th election, which showed him winning 87% of the votes, Putin argued that it reflected strong public backing of his policies.
One day Russia's going to wake up, and when it does, it's going to make a lot of things look a lot different than it is.
Yeah, I'm thinking that wake up call is going to be what was it? Argentina back in the 50s. Like, ooh.
Well, I think it's going to be worse than that. I mean, because if we look back, Russia is known for taking care of leaders and destroying them.
Yeah. Like, Russia either loves you or hates you.
When they hate you, you're
not
in trouble.
A little in between. Yeah, there's not a lot of in between.
Yeah.
And I think right now he definitely is claiming a false love.
Yeah.
So
I just wonder if
for whatever
Catherine the
good it
Great
does
haunts
him.
him.
Do I know?
I just wonder if Catherine the Great haunts him.
That's a question.
Like, hopefully, she's busy on the other side, keeping him awake at night. Maybe with sounds of horses.
One could hope. One could hope.
Yeah.
But no, I feel bad for Russia. I mean, I'm sorry. Does it ever just feel like Russians? Let me be very clear. Like Russians cannot get a fair shake.
They can't get good leadership for shit.
You know what I mean? Like they've really struggled with this whole concept.
Mm-hmm.
They supposedly got a free democratic election, and have they had one yet?
I think they did when Mikhail Gorbachev was elected.
Okay, that's fair. I was saying it and thinking it, but since 2000,
No.
The year that Putin came to power,
Right? No.
It's just kind of been
right
off a cliff,
right?
And it's countries aren't doing well. Let's just see if we can all agree on that. A country isn't doing well if you have to get into Soviet era crackdown on dissent.
Right.
That's not a good sign.
Well, it's not a good sign, but it's also not a good position, because if you're looking at that, that's telling you that he really doesn't have a grip on his people other than in fear. And eventually fear is going to wear off. And someone's going to end up having either, being buried in Siberia for 40 years. Well, actually, no, it was almost 100 years. Or they're going to, drink a glass of milk and die at the dinner table.
Let's just go with it. Normally ends poorly when people are at this stage.
Right.
As a general theory.
Right.
Normally when you're having to rule your people this way.
Yeah.
It's about to go down in flames.
I just hope that it handles itself well. Hello, our Russian listeners. We do have a large audience of you. We hope that you can remain safe during this time.
Well, at least we did till this show.
Oh no, they support our views.
Well, but I'm saying though,
yeah,
we've had some very anti-Russia sentiment.
Well, we have. I don't have anti-Russia sentiment. Point blank. I don't.
It's not
had some.
I'm cool with our Russian listeners. I have no problem with that.
Right.
I'm glad you're here. I hope you're finding wonderful things in our show. Right. I just mean, as in terms of the Russian state.
Right.
We've not been kind this evening.
Well, no, we shouldn't be kind because they're still being held.
We hate it for you.
Right. And looking back at Madame Frolotsky that came from Russia, looking back at Catherine the Great or, Peter III, I do not believe they would be putting up with any of this.
That's fair. That's very fair. Hey, Jessica.
Hello, Jessica. How you doing?
Notice for her prettiness. We're doing pretty good. It has been a wild week in the news.
Yeah.
Wild couple of days, really, but
it's been interesting in the news. There's not been a lot of gay news, which is, and sometimes I'm kind of glad when there's not a lot of gay news. We just get tired of it.
Yeah.
Because it's never good. But
not anymore. We'll move right into our, anti-US sentiment. We're equal opportunity over here.
Right.
We hate crap.
All of it.
All of it. Doesn't matter where in the world it is, we hate it.
Mm-hmm.
But this is supposed to be like, hi, Russian listeners. This is what the free democratic state is supposed to act like. It doesn't mean that I hate the United States and want to join a terrorist organization.
Right.
It means I see a problem.
Mm-hmm.
I have a right to bitch about it.
Yes.
Because I live here.
Right.
And it affects me.
Yeah.
And I will continue bitching about it until the problem quits being a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Or we unfortunately get to the point in which this is a opinion of death.
Right.
At which point I don't know that my opinion will change, but my appearance on air may very much so.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Just saying.
I know.
We have our own election coming up.
I know. It's a little bit of a weirdo one.
Is it ever?
Like
have we ever had a president nominee that has been this on the razor edge of complete life implosion legally? Like,
now, like the only reason he's trying to get elected again is so that he can suspend the Constitution.
I mean, that's assuming a lot. Like, I think that's a bit presumptive of what he can do.
Well, he hasn't learned what he can do. But this was the latest thing he said was he would suspend the election to suspend the Constitution to secure the borders and throw out the government. And he believed he had the power to do that.
Oh.
Yeah. Add in there, the state of New York is about ready to seize his assets because he can't come up with the bail money.
Bond money.
Nobody will loan him the bond money.
No. Like, he doesn't have the cash assets currently.
Right.
Pay the bond or to satisfy the court currently in cash, and he can't find anyone that will write a surety bond.
Right.
Or multiple surety bonds, as in this, for this many millions and that many millions and this many other millions. So yeah, basically the state is ready. Well, the state of New York is ready to go after his New York properties. It doesn't look like they're yet looking into going after his Florida properties or his Chicago properties.
Yeah.
So yet. Which, I mean, has got to be a nightmare on both sides.
Well, I don't think it's a nightmare. I think it's quite interesting if he's such a businessman and so profitable as a businessman that he can't raise this money.
Well, but here's the whole problem. He has spent and what I was getting at is he spent so many years lying out of both sides of his mouth, lying to banks about how much the property was worth to get loans, and then turning around and lying down the value of the property for taxes.
Right.
So at this point, trying to go through and figure out what the truth is.
Right. Which will be the tax value, because that's what they'll use.
Well, but how much of that was influenced?
Again, doesn't matter. They're going to go tax value, which is a lower value.
Well, yeah, that would be a bigger problem. Is that the assets? Well, and I think that's some of his like fire sale commentary. Yeah, that's what you valued your property at. is a fire sale price.
Right.
And so if that's what you now have to use,
Right.
Trump Tower ain't worth shit.
No. It's an aging property.
Amongst other issues.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly its connection to Donald Trump.
Yeah, I just can't wait till it's the New York prosecutor's office.
Oh, that'll be bad.
I think it would be hilarious.
Oh, hilarious, but
yeah. Like cut the ribbon.
You know what I mean? Oh, that'd be wild. That would be wild. Say anyhow.
Oh. Let's move into Are You an Asshole?
Alrighty. Oh, so I kind of chose this one at random. I love the title. I'm like, I don't even care what this one is. The title was good. Am I the asshole for proving to my boyfriend the nerds never cared about the popular kids in high school? My boyfriend and I, both 25, went to the same high school. My boyfriend was talking about our high school days. He thought high school me would have been thrilled to date the popular guy because I was a nerd. Mind you, we're 25 and it's 2024. I played along for a bit until I realized he wasn't joking. He literally thought that. I told him that I didn't know he existed. He was surprised and said that he was a popular kid. He played football and was in the popular crowd. He said that I must have been lying. I told him that the nerds never cared about the popular kids in high school because we were fiercely competing against ourselves for college admissions. For a backstory on our town, my boyfriend was born and raised there, but I only moved when I was 13, along with a bunch of other high-achieving kids. That's because an engineering company opened up a branch near that town and brought in a ton of engineers and their families. So it was a sleepy town with a big high school that suddenly got a ton of competitive kids, and I mean insanely competitive.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody had time to think about popular kids or really anything but college admissions. I was only getting 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night regularly. Sports like football or cheerleading, which required 5 days a week of training at school, were out of the question. And I saw the same people regularly because we were all in the same classes. So all of the drama that was contained within that group of 50 to 100 or so students, it paid off for me. I got into a top college and had no student loans. It was literally cheaper than the state school. And despite my auto-generated username, I do have a good job that I enjoy. My boyfriend said, I'm lying. I don't like being called a liar. So I literally reached out to all of my high school nerd friends, and yep, they didn't know the popular group and the ins and outs of the dynamics like my boyfriend thought. A few people recognized some names, but like I said, we were really focused on competing with each other. He got quiet when I proved my case. He said I humiliated him, and I proved my point, and we should never mention high school again. I talked with his sister, and she said that high school was a special experience for him, and I ruined his memories.
Aww.
Am I the asshole?
Nah.
Life comes at you fast, right?
Uh-huh.
I mean, I'm not gonna say like I had no clue who the popular kids were. If you cannot figure out I was a nerd kid, I was a nerd kid. Like it's like, and I was there pretty much from the beginning. Like I started kindergarten with these kids and went all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
For most of them, our school system kind of multiple streams turned into a couple of rivers that turned into like one high school.
Right.
It wasn't that I didn't know who the popular kids were, and I'm sure at the time, like, yeah, I knew who they were and what was going on, and that I was not one of them.
Mhm.
But quite frankly, after 2000, I started forgetting who most of them are. And I don't mean that to be mean. It's like I had a whole other life. I was in college. I had shit going on. I had places to be. I really quickly, like, you weren't part of my daily world in high school,
Mhm.
like my literal daily world. Why would I care?
Right.
You know,
Um,
I
See, I was not. I was that weird popular. Like everyone knew me because I was in so much shit.
mhm.
But I was also part of the goth community, so they just left me the fuck alone because they were afraid I was going to eat their heart. Um, the fun stuff of high school.
Yeah.
But no, like people walk up, they know me, I know them after they tell me who they are and who their grandkid is, and I'm just like, okay,
Oh yeah, no.
so good to see you.
I ran into one person that she knew immediately who I was.
Right.
I'll just go ahead and admit it, and if you're watching, I'm so sorry. I totally faked it. Uh, I knew who her friend was.
Right.
Not necessarily because she was a popular girl, but because she had a moment of infamy in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, yeah, like this was my best friend. And it's like, oh, yeah. I'm sorry, I have no clue who you are.
Right.
None. I know your friend. Like, your friend was the one that what do you do with a drunken sailor from the Pirate Dinner Adventure at Disney?
Mm-hmm.
Her answer at 14 was take him back to the hotel room. She invitedly 30-some-year-old man
Mm-hmm.
back to the hotel room.
Was he good looking?
Moment of infamy. I'm not even going there.
Okay.
It was so many levels of screwed up. She was 14.
Okay.
He had no business, nor did he, in the situation she was creating.
Okay.
Like, yeah, she kicked out her roommates for the hotel room. We were 4 to a room. She kicked out her roommates for this to take place. And thankfully, the roommates squealed mostly because they were annoyed at being kicked out of the room for this.
Mm-hmm.
And we heard through the hotel room because we were on separate floors, boys on one floor, girls on another floor.
Mm-hmm.
We heard when our band director found this out.
Yeah.
So, moment of infamy did not go well for her. I remember her, the friend. I don't remember the girl I ran into.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. I've got nothing for her. I was still nice and polite and pretended I remembered her, but I've got nothing.
Right.
In all honesty, I don't remember you. I don't know who you were.
Mm-hmm.
But she knew me instantly.
Right.
And we're not like we're talking like because I went to get a copy of your Buick key.
Right.
So that's what 2018.
Yeah. 2018, 2019.
Yeah. So 18 years later, she knows me on site,
Right.
and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I got nothing.
Right.
Like, in my defense, I didn't stay in my hometown.
True.
She did. Like, I don't know her life story. Maybe she left for a little bit. Maybe she moved to, like, another town over or something. I don't know. But I'm going to assume, based on who her best friend was, she probably graduated and stayed in town.
Right.
I'm guessing. Like, don't think the best friend was going to college.
Yeah.
Like, it may surprise me.
She may have decided to go to Florida State.
She may have gone, had her wildness in high school, turned around, got it together, went to college, became a doctor, for all I know.
Right.
I don't know. I didn't care to find out.
Right.
I may never know. But realistically, like, nope, didn't have a clue. Faked it the whole way through. Because it was so important for her to, for me to remember her.
Right.
And I'm like, okay. I've got nothing.
Yeah.
And it happens. It's happened a few times.
Right.
Where I've run into people that it's clear and obvious we must have gone to high school together.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had to do the, oh, hi.
Mm-hmm. How are you?
How's it going? Like, it's been forever.
Mm-hmm.
Get me out of this conversation because I don't know who the hell you are and I'm afraid I'm going to say something stupid.
Right.
Like, how's your mother? And she died 20 years ago. Like, I don't want to do that to someone. It's just like,
Right. So with that, I don't think you're the asshole for reminding him that you were a smart kid. You didn't grow up in the little box. And, no, sorry, you were in competition with your own selves. Which is very common.
I'm gonna diverge here and go everyone's shitty here.
Okay.
I think it's shitty what he started.
Uh-huh.
And like really should have backed off.
Right.
I think the fact that OP got so invested into disproving this, granted because you were called a liar, and I get it. Like, this may be all this man has, and you just ripped it away from him.
Well,
like, I think you married down, and or he married up.
He married up.
Well, I mean, either like one or the other, either which way you want to say it. Like that may have been everything he was going to have to like coast on. Like it sounds like your husband peaked in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Cool kid was all he had.
Right.
After that, it's just kind of like work a crap job till you die.
Right.
And then you just told him.
Mm-hmm.
No one cared.
Right.
That's gonna stick with him.
Probably. For a little while.
For a long while.
Yeah. All right. So
yeah,
let's go into poly advice.
All right.
And then after that, I have a question for you. Poll is up. Poll is up.
All right. So what does cheating look like in polyamory? I'm trying to understand the rules of polyamory, but I'm curious about cheating. Does that exist? What does that look like? Can one partner have different views on what's cheating and the other partner thinks it's just polyamory?
Yes. Cheating can be anything from he ate my cheesecake or he forgot to bring me cheesecake from his date.
Oh, don't be sounding like you're trying to level that at me.
I'm not leveling it at you. You brought me cheesecake. I brought you cheesecake. Someone else owes me cheesecake.
Yours is marginal. Okay?
Uh-huh.
I was expecting cheesecake from the omelet shop. I got cheesecake from Sheets.
And the omelet shop.
No, you brought me some kind of cream pie thing.
Right. Anyway, you got dessert.
I'm just saying, I have a hall pass because of that.
Uh-huh. I will remind you of I have limited grace.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
I'll remind you, my ringer accidentally gets turned off, so I hope you have gas.
Uh-huh. Again, I have limited grace and you've used a lot of it.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Oh. See, anyway, continuing.
So, cheating happens. You have to sit there and debate now the term cheating. Is it not bringing the doggy bag home from the date? Is it not, communicating that you have a date? What's your boundaries of your relationship?
Well, I think the simpler explanation is you almost have to start at the thing that everyone in polyamory goes, oh God, no. Don't say that. Okay. So there's this whole thing that the polyamory community really, really, really hates hearing, and it's called, it's just permission to cheat.
All right.
There's so many things wrong with that phrasing.
Right.
It is permission to engage in things that may otherwise be cheating if you were in a monogamous relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the expanded total thought.
Right.
That doesn't mean you eradicate all cheating by being polyamorous.
Right.
It means you have expanded your relationship definition to include other people,
Mm-hmm.
concurrent to the person to all of the people you're with.
Mm-hmm.
It does not mean you erased cheating.
Mm-hmm.
It means that while some things would be cheating in a monogamous relationship,
Mm-hmm.
some things still remain cheating, regardless of either relationship.
Yes.
And most of it comes down to communication.
Yeah.
Which starts at, these are the boundaries, these are the rules
Mm-hmm.
for our polyamorous relationship, and the things outside of that are still cheating.
Right.
It's sort of like an open book test. Think of it like, I think that may be the better way for people to think about it, is polyamory is like an open book test.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean you can't cheat in an open book test. Oh, you very much can. Because the only thing you're supposed to have is your open book.
Right.
For the test. Now, if you also have a crib sheet, if you also have, are sneaking peeks at other people's answers, you still cheated on that test, even if it's open book.
Right.
That's sort of what happens with polyamory, is take monogamy, make it open book.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean that if you don't tell your partner where you're at, what you're doing, or who you're with, that it's not cheating. Nope, that's still cheating if that's your relationship agreement.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you can go out with other people,
Right.
have relationships with them, doesn't mean you're free to just wake up on a Tuesday,
Mm-hmm. And
pack your bags, and disappear for 72 hours.
Yeah.
Like, that's cheating.
Mm-hmm.
Don't care where you're at, who you're with, or what you're doing, that's cheating.
Right.
You at least have to honor the commitments of the relationships that you're in.
all of the commitments.
Yes.
Yes. That's something people forget. All of the commitments.
Okay.
You know, the same relationships doesn't have the same commitments.
Well, this is true. So yeah, within each there can be vast differences between, like, relationship 1 has these terms and conditions, relationship 2 has these terms and conditions.
Right. Like,
They
we
may
have
vary.
a thing that if it's over $500, we have to talk about it.
There is that. And then you have another relationship where that ain't it.
They don't care.
We don't talk about finances. That's just not a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's not the relationship. That's not how it works.
Right.
We don't have shared expenses other than our dates.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's $500 date, we already have problems.
Yeah, guys, weekend getaway can be quite spendy, but anyhow.
Well, that's true. But I'm saying that may be a problem for one relationship.
Right.
Like, you just spent what?
Uh-huh.
Versus on another one, it's like, wow, this is a really great trip. I can't believe we can afford to do this.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, neither does my other partner.
But we have shared financial goals. That relationship doesn't. We had shared expenses, shared vehicles, shared this, that. They'll come look at it, they'll give advice on it, but it's not a thing.
They make Gibbs you for thinking about it.
No, they just team up with everybody else.
And Gibbs you.
Yes.
You will get smacked in the back of the head. You're not buying a Spider Eclipse.
I know. Everyone doesn't want me to have this car.
I know, right?
Like, I don't get it. Their problem is that it's a convertible.
Well, my problem isn't that it's convertible. It's just we can't afford the speeding tickets, 1. 2, the insurance increase because of that. And if I needed another reason, you'll roll it and die.
No, it's not going to be a blue one, first of all. Second of all, it has good seat belts. Third of all, it won't increase the insurance. And fourth of all, I can eat Olive Garden.
Do what?
Honey.
Yeah.
You get speeding tickets. I get Olive Garden.
I got one speeding ticket. Do not put a plural on there. That was my father's fault too.
Again, you get speeding tickets. I get Olive Garden.
Yeah. One day your luck is going to run out. You're going to meet the angriest lesbian cop. And she is going to nail you to a barnyard door.
Hasn't happened yet.
Just saying. Like, I invite, if you're a lesbian cop watching this show, can you move to West Virginia and become a traffic cop? Our roads will be safer. We will be poorer, but our roads will be safer.
Yes, because they'll have highway patrol fix the damn potholes.
Well, there's
or
that.
do it themselves.
There's that too. I'm just saying that.
Yeah. Okay.
Right now, the potholes are the only speed bumps he recognizes.
So, I have a question for Joe to settle a debate that has been going on.
We're gonna have this on air? What?
Yeah, we're gonna have this on air. There's
Joe, say that and they'll be watching for you, aren't you, damn Skippy? All right, go ahead.
Okay. There's this dude online that does this thing about feral wives.
Okay.
And I've been debating the issue, and a number of us have, if I fall within that category.
Of a feral housewife?
Feral wife.
Yeah. Feral for sure. I'm sorry, you're sending me a link? Because I feel like I'm talking about something I know nothing about. I've seen the one about, there are domestic housewives, so that implies there are feral ones, and that's become a
Oh my God, there is a whole freaking page on it. Oh, yes. And a quiz. Here we go. Now
Brenda's with me. Feral wife fits.
Here you go.
Oh, there's a quiz. I think the fact you sent me the quiz instead of taking the quiz proves the
you
point.
Gotta read it.
Yeah, the term domestic housewife implies that there are feral housewives, and now I have a new goal. Yeah. So signs you're a feral housewife. Let's see, how many are there? There's 10. So this is going to be a put a finger down challenge.
Okay.
And it looks like this one is, if all 10 are still remaining, you're a feral housewife. You can eat off your floors, literally, like there's cereal, dried rice, and probably some pet food reduced to dust. In case of a nuclear attack, you've got at least one meal waiting under the dust bunnies.
No, we have a dog.
I'm waiting for the finger to go down. You know this is true.
We have a dog. He cleans up everything.
Uh-huh.
Okay, fine. I'll put the finger down.
Okay. None of your friends are part of an MLM scheme. You don't have time for those kinds of friends or parties. Your friends' side hustles include freelance editing, an Etsy store selling handcrafted jewelry, and writing erotic romance under a pseudonym, all of which add to the margarita money for your nights out.
Okay, finger already down.
You're well-read, and your reading list includes everything from nonfiction to Jane Austen, Agatha Christie, and Ruby Dixon, 70-30 Dixon.
Okay.
The pizza delivery guy delivers on Friday even when you don't place an order because he knows you forgot and he's got your back. Plus you tip 30%.
They actually used to call daily.
Uh-huh. You leave parent-teacher conferences confused as to what kind of magic occurs that turns your rancid, potty-mouthed, unappreciative teen into this year's service award winner, and then you worry that they've set the bar way too low.
Okay.
Your ceiling fan is, after a weekend away with the Hubs, you come home to a spotless house and 2 sleepy teenagers. You choose to ignore the fact that the stack of Solo cups is missing and the dog is now pink, and focus on the fact that everyone has their limbs intact and you and the Hubs needed that weekend away.
Okay.
Your ceiling fan is now unbalanced due to the weight of the dust accumulated on top. You remind yourself to get to it after the laundry, Sisyphus. You pick dried food off plates from the dishwasher rather than soaking them and rewashing them, reasoning that food particle has been sanitized.
Okay.
People comment on the family photo hanging above your fireplace without realizing that it took 2 hours, threats of bodily harm, and serious photoshopping skills to make it look like the kids were all smiling, looking at the camera, and touching each other, and not the diabolical, duplicitous demons they are when assembled.
Okay.
You refer to your friends as your You're a feral housewife.
Okay. Just checking.
Yep. You are a totally feral housewife. Send help.
All right.
Okay, so Brenda has called out Shannon and said is definitely a feral wife. And points out the quiz on the barista page is in need. Oh, but Shannon says, I don't need a test to say I'm a feral housewife. I know how I am when I have no caffeine.
Okay, so I went and got the Urban Dictionary for this.
Okay.
Here you go.
Oh, Brenda says, have you listened to the way Shannon has threatened her husband? Fair.
It's tame. We've got to get it up a level. She needs to watch more true crime.
So Urban Dictionary says, feral housewife, one who cooks better than your mother, maintains her family and home, shoots guns, drinks beer and or liquor like a man, doesn't give a shit what anyone thinks, and she'll bust a bitch right in the snot box if she lets her shotgun mouth override her BB ass. She refuses to listen to the... Oh, big, beautiful. Got it. Figured it took me a second. She refuses to listen to the words can't, won't, don't, or stop. If you say those words to her, then chances are she will do it and take photos. I prefer the quiz.
Okay.
It's a little more clear cut there.
True.
It's a little more clear cut.
Right.
Brenda's like, isn't that the definition for baristas?
Yeah, normally.
Now, careful. My sister's involved in that.
She trained most of them. It's true. Discussions we have about your sister are lovely.
They are. They're fun. Oh, but alrighty.
Alrighty.
So, am I the asshole? Where were we at?
Let me go check.
Okay. Sorry, we got a little distracted there with the
Well,
question.
we haven't asked the Joe. All right. Where'd the poll go to? The answer to the poll was, no, you are not the asshole. Where it went to, the goddess only knows.
Oh, no. All right. Well, not the asshole.
Yep.
Yee.
All right. I'm looking for a quiz. I'm not seeing a quiz. I am seeing that you need to go vote for me for May King or Queen.
I did.
Everyone else needs to.
Okay. Everyone else go vote for him for May Queen.
Yep.
That's fair.
Yep.
What's she looking for? Still trying to find the...
Just wrapping everything up and checking votes.
All right. Are you leading yet?
No, Jason's currently leading.
Okay. You got to admit, he would also be a good May King.
He would, definitely.
Like, it's a fair fight.
It is. It is a fair fight. All right, guys. Let's wrap this up before she starts her shit because her daddy's going to be coming home soon. I can't wait for him to do so I can turn her over to him.
Like, here is your cat. Please turn her off.
Yeah.
Stow her in the overhead compartment for the duration of this night.
Like, she has been in a mood today. That's all I have to say. That's all I have to say. She's been in a mood. When her father gets home, just wait for it.
Pretty much.
Yes.
Time for me to Vanna.
Time for you to Vanna in the best way.
All right. So, of course, we want to thank Beverly Walker, Mika G, Kathy, Mary Winfield, Brenda, Shannon C, Shannon D, Lady Gwendolyn, Charles Shaw, Tracy Van, Caitlin Bell, and Devin. If you'd like to learn more about us, the show, or how you too can become a Patreon sponsor and receive all the wonderful benefits our baristas receive, please visit us at pcspnetwork.com. Meanwhile, I feel like after that quiz, we need to put prepaid legal as a benefit.
If we get a sponsor.
Hey, there's a sponsor idea.
Yeah, I'm open to sponsorings. All right, guys, we will see you Sunday for Psychic of the Plans. Let's see how crazy our week will be.
Absolutely.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.